glasses. Got my regular glasses.
Here we go. Hello, everybody. We are live on Facebook. Lonnie and Tony talking about the NFL week number 4. But before we do that, you see Tony there. He's got his brown shirt on, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk week 3 first. Hey, I'm Lonnie Washington, and he is Tony Robinson. He's in Texas, and I am in Arizona, and we're glad to be with you tonight, talking about the NFL. Exciting week, especially if you had teams that won, and if you had teams that lost. Hey, try again next week. But we're here to talk a little NFL. Tony, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Well, pretty good.
Oh,
pretty
awesome,
good.
Awesome. So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we're going to just start off with a quick preview of week 3, and then we'll start talking a little bit more about the games. I know Tony is chomping at the bit, talk about his team with the big upset, and I'm going to obviously eat crow. And I'm going to show you some receipts of why from last week. So here we go. I mean, the third week of the NFL season featured a mix of unexpected outcomes, including several surprising upsets, dramatic finishes, particularly fueled by special team plays. First of all, the Thursday night game was the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. That game was closer than expected, but of course, Buffalo stayed undefeated. The Cleveland Browns, so we'll talk a little bit more in depth later, pulled off a surprising victory against the Green Bay Packers, securing the win with a blocked field goal and a game-winning kick as time expired. The Philadelphia Eagles managed to come back from 19 points, defeating the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles blocked 2 fourth-quarter field goals, which is absolutely insane, including one return for a touchdown by Jordan Davis to steal the victory. This marked the first time in 50 years they blocked 2 field goals in one game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers stayed hot as they had 3 comeback wins in the last 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks of the season, winning a close game against the New York Jets. That game was really, too close for comfort for them. But you got Baker Mayfield coming back again in the final seconds to win, late in the game. San Francisco 49ers and Los Angeles Chargers secured wins with field goals as time expired. The Seattle Seahawks and Chicago Bears dominated their respective matchups against the New Orleans Saints and the Dallas Cowboys. Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdown passes with the Bears. We'll be talking about that. That's kind of insane. But those Dallas Cowboys and that porous defense that they have, I kind of predicted that one too. All right, now. So Detroit Lions secured a road victory against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night. Jonathan Taylor had a big game for the Indianapolis Colts, rushing for 102 yards and 3 touchdowns in their win against the Tennessee Titans. The Washington Commanders defeated the Las Vegas Raiders. Jalen Lane had a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown as they roll against the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Minnesota Vikings, led by backup quarterback Carson Wentz. I mean, wow. Carson Wentz, of all people, defeated the Cincinnati Bengals. Isaiah Rodgers had 2 defensive touchdowns for the Vikings, including an 87-yard interception return and a 66-yard fumble return. I mean, he should be Defensive Player of the Week to do something like that. The Pittsburgh Steelers went into New England also, forcing 5 turnovers as Aaron Rodgers threw for 2 touchdown passes, passing Brett Favre 4th most in NFL history with 509 career touchdown passes. And there's a bunch of injuries in the NFL last week, but we'll get into that later. But that's kind of a quick rundown of week 3. And I tell you, we probably should start with the amazing game that we had last week with the Cleveland Browns upsetting, and I mean upsetting, the Green Bay Packers. A lot of people had Green Bay as, the team to beat. They were anointing them Super Bowl, contenders already. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't give them a chance to win last week. And, so we're going to start with a segment called Receipts. So now I'm going to play a little bit of last week's show, and then we're going to kind of step into it after that and talk about this game. Let's go. after seeing them beat up on my Commanders and now seeing them going into Cleveland, I think the Packers are going to 3-0. And that's all I'll say about this game because I don't think it's going to be close. But, Cleveland plays well at home and the defense is good. If they get a couple of things on offense going, they can make this pretty interesting. And to be honest with you, the Green Bay Packers, they haven't really put teams away, even though they're 2-0. They looked really good. But I got the feeling that the Commanders were still in that game somehow in the fourth quarter. So it's all about if Green Bay can put the Cleveland Browns away early and can't let the Cleveland Browns get any momentum at all in this game.
Right. So you know who I have.
So that was kind of like just what I said. So, I mean, I'm apologizing to the Cleveland Browns fans. There was an amazing win. I apologize, Cleveland Brown fans. It was an amazing win to beat the Green Bay Packers. But kind of everything that I said there, I didn't give you guys a chance to win, but I kind of gave you a little bit of a roadmap, okay, on how to beat the Green Bay Packers. However, I didn't think you guys were going to win. But our resident fan here, Tony Robinson, he had a lot to say about this game. And let's take a listen to what he said about this game after I didn't give you guys a chance to win.
So you know who I have.
Yeah, I do.
You know who I have. And with that being said, I mean, I have to, right? I can't.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
I know we're supposed to be biased in a little bit, but I can't be biased. I have to go with my Browns only because I feel like the defense will tone their offense down. And it's going to be up to us to actually. I want to see what Flacco's going to do because I don't see him doing well against them either because they're going to do the same thing the Ravens did because you got Parsons coming in from any which way, just coming in there disrupting everything. So I feel like we might be switching the quarterback in the second quarter, second half.
Oh wow!
Because like you.
All right, Tony. The floor is yours. You was right. I was wrong, and I'm man enough to admit it. So tell me, really, in this game, I kept checking the scoreboard, and I watch a lot of Red Zone, Tony, and I didn't see this game on Red Zone at all. I didn't see anybody like in scoring positions, and I was getting worried. And so I turned to the game, and it looked like you guys was just in a crazy defensive battle. Tell me break down this game for me and tell me how you guys are able to pull out this big win.
Like you said, it was a defensive battle. Like, both teams played really well on defense. I mean, I knew our offense didn't have a chance really, but we had one shining light in Quinshon Junkins. He had 18 carries for 94 yards and 1 touchdown. That was the bright spot of our Browns offense. And besides that, we couldn't really move the ball. Flacco was missing a lot of throws, open guys. We did a flea flicker. The guy was open down the field. He threw it to the check down when he didn't see the guy, wide open and stuff like that. So we slowed down Green Bay's offense. I mean, that's what it came down to. Like you said, like if they couldn't put us away early, we were going to be coming at them. Like every single time we just kept coming. We just kept coming and disrupted their whole flow of offense. And, we kept Jacobs only 30-something yards rushing and stuff like that. And I just feel like we have the best defense in the league right now. We just got to get our offense on track. Our offense has to be on track. We just need – I don't see Flacco – like I was wrong with them, taking Flacco out in the second quarter, second half, whatever. But I feel like it's close. It should be close because we can't move the ball playing with Flacco. You can't any team that plays against us, they're just gonna send everybody at him like full bore. We can't have a statue just sitting there, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta get somebody that's mobile and get out of the pocket. So
yeah, I mean, do you feel that I heard that Deion Sanders came out and said that Shador might be playing sometime this year, and that was a bold statement by him to come out. And I quite just think that he just needs to stay worried about his football team in Colorado and to stay out of business. But is it possible or feasible that he's got some inside information that Shador might take over, might leap over Gabriel, first of all, because Gabriel's listed as the second string quarterback. like leap over Gabriel and then also take over the starting job of the Cleveland Browns. I mean, how do you see this panning out? And in fact, if you say Flacco is not the guy, we just saw Jackson Dart now is starting next week for the New York Giants. Do Cleveland Browns make a move at one of the rookie quarterbacks?
Um, to get to the first question about Shador leapfrogging Dylan Gabriel, I kind of play neutral in this situation because I'm all about supporting whoever the next quarterback up is. I don't want to create a divide because they are all on the Cleveland Browns team. So I'm a Cleveland Browns. I'm a true Browns fan, and I don't want to like cause a divide with the backups and stuff like that. I kind of like them both equally. If it were up to me, we have to go with Dylan Gabriel first because that's the next one in the pecking order. Just how they have it laid out. But I feel like what Dion is probably alluding to, he probably has some inside knowledge, maybe because Musgrave, one of the coaches, is pretty much played with Dion and with the 49ers. So he knows. And before Shador went there, he told him, like, take care of my son, pretty much, like, whatever. But I don't know if he's like leaking anything or whatever. But I feel like it's he knows something. He wouldn't he wouldn't say anything because he hasn't said anything all this time until now. So it's like, okay, why is it coming out now versus at the beginning of the season or whatever? He knows something. I mean, but for me, I'd rather start with Dylan, maybe because he knows that once Dylan Gabriel gets out there, he may not be who they think he is, maybe. But I feel like Dylan Gabriel is pretty solid quarterback. I'm not going to talk bad about him because I like Shador better, because I like Shador better, but I'm going to still kind of keep it neutral because I like anybody that's in a Browns uniform. I'm going to root for them. Whoever the QB1 is, that's who I follow. I don't play the divide like everybody does in the comment section and stuff like that, because I'm a team player. I don't like to cause a divide within the organization. Whoever's next man up, support that guy. That's how I feel.
Yeah. And I don't know what to really think now about the Green Bay Packers because a lot of people. Jordan Love was phenomenal the first 2 weeks of the season in two home games. And, the teams that they beat, I mean, Lions just went in and clobbered the Ravens last night, right? And so I say the first 2 weeks of the season really is kind of still preseason, but I think the real season kind of starts on week 3. And you guys kind of know that your defense has been stout for the last 3 games. And for some reason, Jordan Love, man, he threw a horrible pick at the end of that game that was taken all the way back down to like the 10-yard line that made this whole win possible for you guys. And it was just amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned at the fact that you guys actually won that game. And it's interesting because the national media was so cold to the Green Bay Packers after being so kind to the Green Bay Packers the first 2 weeks of the season. But there was mum today about the Green Bay Packers. Everybody was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is a good time to segue to the Eagles game. People were talking about how good Philly is and how great Jalen Hurts is and how Jalen Hurts is just a winner. He's won 17 games in a row that he started leading back to last season, and that, the last game that they actually lost was against the Commanders that he got knocked out, but they're not counting that game. And all Jalen Hurts does is win. I mean, they were really I was watching this game, and I never turn off an NFL game. But looking at this game, it was a crazy game. Jalen Hurts, I think it was negative yardage or something like that in the first half in passing. It was just outrageous. And then to come back and storm back down by 19 points, and it was just amazing. Now, do you think that Philadelphia Eagles, even though they had a slow start, do you think this game was much about how good Philly is, or just how the big collapse that the Rams team had? Because to be honest with you, the Rams had them dead to rights and let them come back. So you got to say to yourself, man, the Rams let this one get away, and they can't feel good about it. So do you think it was about the Rams, or it was more about the Eagles?
Yeah, I feel like it was more about the Eagles because of that man in the backfield. You got Jalen Hurts running the show. even though they were down, I'm sure he was very motivating to his teammates, and he kept them in the game and everything. And I mean, they're on offensive defensive side. They have great players. I mean, they have the
Mhm.
youngest secondary in the league, and like just their defensive line is so stout, and they're a good defense too. But they
Mhm.
only they gave up 26 points, but they were down, like you said, in the first half, and Hurts had three touchdown passes, one rushing touchdown.
Mhm.
AJ Brown finally got off the snide and got a touchdown, and Devontae Smith got a touchdown. So it's like
Mhm.
the key people starting to show up, when they need you. When it comes down to like the key moments of the game, you have to have those guys that can step up and fill in and do what they have to do to win the game. That's what it comes down to. No matter
Mhm.
what the scoreboard says, you're gonna keep playing to the end, and that's what they do in Philly. But the
Yeah.
Rams, I mean, Rams have a good team. It's just they kind of gave it up. The defense is not
Yeah.
that they're not that they're stout, but they can't close games right now, as we can see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Philly offense, for some reason, I think the offensive coordinator, he's so conservative, right? I mean, AJ Brown, why isn't he getting the ball like 12 or 13 targets a game? I mean, because clearly he's a beast, and Saquon Barkley is not as for some reason something has happened this year with Saquon Barkley, or they're just holding this team back. I don't understand why they can't do this and play a complete game from the first quarter all the way a full 60 minutes.
I think they're keying in on those two guys because they know that the run game runs this offense. I feel like they're
Mm-hmm.
keying more in on Saquon Barkley, trying to take
Mm-hmm.
him away and force Jalen Hurts to win the game. But Jalen Hurts is doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't watched the full games, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going on. I feel like they're trying to take Saquon because I play fantasy because I can see it from that standpoint. They're
Okay.
trying to take Saquon away to actually to try to stop their offense, but you can't stop it because they can beat you at all different levels.
Mm-hmm.
Passing, if they need to pass, they'll pass. If they need to run the ball, they'll run. So you take one thing away, they're gonna do something else. So and they just got Goddard back from injury, and he
Yeah.
did pretty good too.
It's a big
So
deal.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because we'll talk about this a little later, but they they they're 3-0, and they've had some impressive wins. That Rams win was a big one because people thought that was kind of a possible preview of a playoff game again this year. But we got to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would normally not talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Jets. That is not something that I would normally talk about.
Baker,
But
please.
Baker Mayfield, I'm going to always say this almost every show when I have to talk about Baker Mayfield. You ran Baker Mayfield out of Cleveland probably single-handedly. You cried so much about this guy Baker Mayfield that he was trash and he wasn't good, and I had to listen to that like 3 years ago, and now this guy here, man, is probably, he's just awesome. The last 3 weeks, and even going back to last season, he's just awesome. 3 comeback from behind wins, and he doesn't have his full complement of weapons. Evans actually got hurt in this game, man, and he all he does is come back. Wow. Do you want him back over there in Cleveland or what?
Well, I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna eat crow on this myself because
Okay, all right.
I was so done with Baker.
Mhm.
Everybody knows it in my family. Like my wife knows it. I was done. Like I couldn't deal with Baker's stuff when he was with the Browns, but he was still
Yep.
growing in his professional football career and everything.
Mhm.
And I felt like, well, it goes back to what I said on a previous podcast that we rush our players to be, to play, which I feel like we should let our other guys wait. But that's another, I want to beat a dead horse with that. But we kind of rushed him to play, and then when he started like showing signs of like regression, we wanted to kick
Mhm.
him out versus just
Well, yeah.
holding on and just letting him mature even more, getting years under his belt. But yeah, like I told you earlier today, I want to say, Baker, please come back. Baker, please come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But
Baker,
I don't
please.
think he ain't coming back now.
He ain't coming back, and he's on a friendly contract deal with them. I mean, gosh, if he's probably a $50 million quarterback, to be honest with you. He's being totally underpaid over there for what he's done the last couple of years. And I think that it's good to see a guy, finally get it together and live up to his draft status. And that, it just goes to show that a quarterback that goes to a different team, we're talking about Carson Wentz. I thought his career was over, but he hit in Kansas City, got some good coaching, and he had a crazy blowout win against the Bengals, right? And it's funny, and because now that you're starting to see the effects of the possibilities that could happen in that division. That division's wide open. Because now with the loss last night, with the Ravens getting their teeth kicked in last night by the Detroit Lions at home, it's that people in that division is 1-2. The Bengals are 2-1, but you can see that they're going downhill in that division fairly fast. And Cleveland, if they can muster up some offense with that defense, man, I could see this being. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they won, but they haven't been really impressive. But they did get 5 turnovers in New England. And New England should be ashamed of themselves for giving up 5 turnovers and losing that game at home. But the way I look at this division now and the way the Cleveland defense is playing, I think that division is kind of wide open, right?
Yeah, I could see that, but Baltimore still looks really good. Even though it just
their
seems
defense
like
is not good. Their defense.
They giving up some points, but it's just looking at the stats of like our game and then compared to everybody else, it's just like if we can't score, if we average like we talked about earlier today or yesterday, if we can just average like 25 points a game, I'm not asking for 30. If we can
even
just get
21,
yeah, if we can do 21 points, like our defense is like they're pretty much only averaging like 10 or 13 points against us right now. They're only giving up that much per game, so it's like if we can just get 20 some points, we'll be dangerous. But it's unfortunate what happened to Burrow. Browning just has to figure it out.
But they game plan for Browning. Remember, he was a superstar when he came in relief, right? But then they game plan for him, and boy, they shut him out. Totally shut him out.
Yeah, I was worried about Rodgers. They still can be pretty solid. Every time they play division games, we play our division games really tough with every division. That's usually how it goes. But our division is pretty tough when it comes to interdivision or same division games and stuff like that. So,
right, and we're up against a break, but when we come back, the Chicago Bears get their first win of the season. And I tell you, those Dallas Cowboys, I talked about them last week. And when we come back, I'll tell you what I said. Hello, we are back and we're live. And, welcome to our show. We're talking NFL week number 4. I'm Lonnie Washington along with Tony Robinson. He's in Texas. I'm in Arizona. And we're just wrapping up, putting a bow tie on week number 3. And in doing so, we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears getting their first win against the Dallas Cowboys. Chicago Bears beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-14, and this game was not even close. And I mean, I kind of predicted this and kind of said that this probably is a great opportunity for the win for Chicago Bears. And this is what I said last week on the show. Take a listen. In Chicago, this is our last game we're going to talk about. And gosh, I mean, Dak Prescott with that offense going to play the Bears desperate to really try to get a win. Caleb Williams is, he's got a porous defense over there against the Cowboys. I mean, so this game is not like an automatic Cowboys win, right? Because the Cowboys defense and their pass rush without Micah Parsons being there, and they gave up 450 yards to Russell Wilson last week. So, the Chicago Bears, I think, could win this game if their defense plays well and stop Dak Prescott. Yeah. I mean, I actually said it. I mean, that was it there. I mean, come on. I mean, Caleb Williams, 298 yards passing, 4 TDs with a passer rating of 142.6. I mean, for the fantasy guys out there, I'm not sure what he got for fantasy points last week, but boy, he blew it up. I mean, was this game here, Tony? Was it a are we now saying that Caleb Williams is that guy, or it was just the Dallas Cowboys kind of make everyone look good? I mean, 450 yards passing Russell Wilson had last week against the Cowboys, and now Caleb Williams 298 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then Jerry Jones came out and said that he thinks that his Cowboys are still a playoff team with that defense. What do you say about this game, and what do you think about what Jerry Jones said?
Well, Jerry, I don't know what Jerry's talking about, because I mean, you can't be a playoff team when your defense is that bad. I mean, and you also have Lamb that might be out for 4 weeks. I mean, 4 games potentially. They have time to still do what they need to do to get there, but that can't have a QBR of 40.7. That's a bad. You can't have a QBR of 40.7 if you go and try to.
Oh my gosh.
Well, like I always say, when they leave the dome, whenever they leave the confines of their plush dome to go outside, like these teams kind of fade away a little bit. I mean, I don't know if it was windy there or like what it was, but Caleb Williams was getting his thing on. Like he was like, I think Caleb is starting to get the Ben Johnson offense, and it's going to take week to week. Like you said, this week is like their first real season game. The preseason game was the first 2 games, whatever. They're starting to click now. And you saw how when Detroit, well, that's a different story, but when they played Detroit, they couldn't figure things out, because I feel like they knew what they're doing, because they know the offensive coordinator. So now they got to go against a defense that can't check nobody, can't guard nobody.
Nope.
And you just see that it can actually work with Caleb Williams, and he was so on it, throwing 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's what can we say about it? I guess we'll see once he plays a really good defense again, see what he does then. But I feel like Caleb Williams had a coming out party, and at the expense of the Dallas Cowboys, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's an awesome win, and I know a lot of Bears fans. My brothers are big Bears fans. A lot of people that I know that are Bears fans, and even in Arizona, I see a lot of people wearing Bears gear, and so I know their fans are happy to get their first win, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. And maybe we don't know what next week's going to be for them, but that maybe this is a sign that the Chicago Bears are not as bad as we think they are. But maybe it's a sign, too, that the Dallas Cowboys defense is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, if not the worst defense in the NFL. And so we're going to turn the page here for a moment. And I have to talk about my Washington Commanders, who, without Jaden Daniels last week, turned in a great performance at Northwest Stadium. They beat the Las Vegas Raiders 41-24. And to be honest, this game was kind of close early, but then the Commanders just turned it on. I mean, they beat the Raiders in every phase of the game. Special teams, our rookie Jalen Lane had a insane kickoff return. Jeremy McNichols, he had 4 carries for 78 yards, and one of those was a 60-yard touchdown run. Ashton Genty, we kind of bottled him up, 17 carries for 63 yards for the Raiders. And, Geno Smith, he had 289 yards passing with 3 touchdowns, but a lot of that was kind of like, towards the end of the game when we were playing a prevent defense. Marcus Mariota came in for Jaden Daniels, and he was 15 of 21, 207 yards and a TD. And man, we had over 200 yards rushing against them on the ground. Mariota looked good, and we didn't miss a beat without having Jaden Daniels. And what I like about this is that this allows Jaden Daniels to take as much time as he needs to actually get better. And we don't have to rush him back like we did in RG3. And, we have to make sure that Jaden Daniels is okay when he comes back, and that he's fully healthy so he can protect himself, because a part of his game is running the football, right? So you can't really take that part away from him. So hopefully this gives him another time to rest. And, we play the Atlanta Falcons this week coming up, and I'm not quite sure what to think about Atlanta, because people had their defense as like a top defense, and then all of a sudden they get shut out by the Carolina Panthers 30-0. And so I'm chopping at the bit to go to Atlanta and hope they don't rebound off of this game at home. But 30-0, and then they fire their wide receiver coach, Ike Hilliard. So there's a lot of disarray right now in Atlanta. And Michael Penix had his worst game as an NFL pro. But next week, we're going to be heading to Atlanta. I'm not sure what you have to say about the Las Vegas Raiders and the Commanders game, but Marcus Mariota, man, he's a great replacement.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was probably a game where because Mariota played for the Raiders too. Yep. And I feel like it was like one of those payback games, that he wanted to stick it to him and stuff like that. But Mariota, like we talked about before, man, like he's really good in this offense, and it's just like another Jaden Daniels, but just a older version, because this is what he did. He did this stuff in Tennessee and stuff like that when he was a starter there back in the day, coming out of Oregon and stuff like that. He was a running quarterback that can that's very serviceable. I mean, it didn't work out for him at Tennessee, but he's been a journeyman all this time, since then. And every place he's won, he's been serviceable. He's a serviceable backup and everything. But in this offense, I feel like he's fit for this offense. It's like he should be a lifer Commanders backup quarterback, because
I think so. I think he's got we'll pay him $8 million a year, man, just for the backup Jaden Daniels. As long as he wants to stay there in DC, I think he's got a family still in Las Vegas. But man, as long as he wants to stay in DC, we'll take him, because he is just what we need. And he knows that he's probably not going to be a starter anywhere else around the league. But man, I think that a lot of people might want him as a backup after seeing what he does, what he did on Sunday, and also what he's done in backing up Jaden Daniels in certain games. So we're going to take a break here, and then when we come back, we'll start previewing week number 4 matchups, and we'll talk a little bit about, some key games for week number 4. We'll be right back. We are back live. This is Lonnie and Tony talking about the NFL week number 4. We just previewed the games that happened last week on week number 3. We're going to get into week number 4. I say so. The NFL have some key matchups next week, including a big showdown between the undefeated Eagles at the Buccaneers, a rivalry game with the Cowboys and Packers on Sunday night, and a Monday night football doubleheader with the Jets at the Dolphins and the Broncos at the Bengals. And one of the biggest things that I think this week, one of the top games this week, is I want to see is the 3-0 Eagles visiting the 3-0 Buccaneers in a game that will hand one of them their first loss of the season. Though the Buccaneers may be hampered by injuries with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I think that Emeka Egbuka and the running back core and their defense is still going to give the Eagles everything that they can handle at home. And another game that the Eagles, they have a tough schedule this year because obviously they won the Super Bowl. But now you play back-to-back teams that don't match up really well. You don't really match up well against, right, because of the defenses and their offensive weapons that they have. But the Buccaneers are going to be limping in this game. How do you think that this game is going to play out with the Eagles and the Buccaneers this week, Tony?
I want to say the Eagles is still they're gonna win this game. They're gonna go to Buccaneers because of what you said. You have a defense that can stop the run. In the Eagles, they can stop the run, right? So if you take the run game away, he only has Emeka Egbuka to pass to, right? So you're taking the 2 running backs, you're taking White and you're taking Bucky Irvin away. I mean, we say take them away, but they can still catch the ball out of the backfield and do other things to get the ball and stuff like that. So they may get more targets passing because of their receiving core is depleted. Otten, the tight end, might get more passes and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be a lot of Baker running around trying to get away from the defensive line, get in there and pushing the pocket and stuff like that. He won't be able to climb the pocket and stuff like that. He'll have to get outside of the pocket. But from the Eagles offense, I mean, Tampa Bay can stop the run as well. But when you got a quarterback that can run like Jalen Hurts, it's kind of hard to stop him and Saquon and the pass option. And you got Goddard back in the fold, which is going to open up the field for the receivers. And I feel like Brown is going to go off in this game. I feel like Brown can actually do well in this game because of all the pieces they have, and they got Goddard coming back in the middle. So they can't pretty much they can't double anybody. So everybody's going to be free and open. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Eagles still can win this game.
Yeah, I do too. I think that I don't want the Eagles to win, right? I would like for them to get their first loss, right? But man, we're gonna see a good game. I think. I mean, this Baker is playing amazing, but that pressure coming up the middle is gonna really irritate the heck out of him. And but Baker Mayfield, if there's he's got the moxie, right? He's got the moxie that could, if this game is close and he gets the ball. It took the Eagles to block a field goal, 2 field goals to win on Sunday against the Rams. So I think that Baker Mayfield can actually beat the Eagles, and I would like to see it happen. It'll be a big win, and then we know that the Buccaneers will be for real if they beat the Eagles as short-handed as they are, and when all their players come back, and in mid-season. This team could be one to watch there in the NFC. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, man, the Dallas Cowboys get a Sunday night football game. Okay, after that horrible performance last week against the Chicago Bears, and he plays against the Packers. The Packers go to play the Cowboys in Dallas. Now, the Packers should be pissed off, and Micah Parsons will be pissed off. And for what I'm hearing, they're not going to do any kind of, anything for Micah coming back to Dallas. Yeah. No tribute or anything like that, because it might be too soon. I don't know. Maybe Jerry. forgets you, Micah, for leaving. And it's too early for all that. And this is going to be a wild, crazy game. with both teams taking the L last week, and they both got beat by teams that were 0-2. Okay, this is going to be a crazy game, and I don't really know what to think, but I know that I got to watch the game because it's on Sunday night, and just the kind of the storylines and the intrigue of Michael Parsons going back to Dallas. So what do you think about Jerry Jones saying he's not going to do any tribute for Michael Parsons in this game? Do you agree with Jerry?
I mean, what has Michael Parsons won?
Oh,
That's
the
one.
shade.
Two. Look how long it took him to give Jimmy Johnson a Ring of Honor. He won 3 Super Bowls with him, right? So just think about that. It's not. I feel like to get a tribute, you got to do something, and it takes a long time for Jerry to recognize that you did something when you get Jimmy Johnson with 3 Super Bowls. Like, come on, like that's Parsons don't get nothing. He ain't done nothing. I mean, he's a great defensive player, yes, but I mean, in the eyes of like record makers, like the records and stuff like, or like the titles and stuff like that. If you got a title, yes. If it was Troy Aikman coming back after playing somewhere, they would have gave him a tribute. Michael Irvin went to some. It depends on if they had went to the rival. If they went to the Eagles or something like that, they'd probably be like, "Nah, we ain't doing that." But but it depends on, like, you have to win to get a tribute, like, you know, or you've been there for like 10 plus years and you gave your all to that organization. And I mean, yeah, they do give their all, but at the same time, he wasn't there long enough for me to go against Jerry's decision, you know, when he didn't give Jimmy Johnson anything until recently. So
I think the only thing that Micah Parsons gave Jerry Jones is heartburn. The only thing that Micah gave Jerry Jones is freaking heartburn, right? And you know, just the whole thing on how everything played out, but and no, and I wouldn't be surprised if they really go after Micah Parsons in this game. I mean, I just think that the Cowboys are going to be out to get him. I mean, he really wrecked their season. They're not the same defense without Micah Parsons, and you know, this defense is real bad. I mean, they weren't real bad like this last year, but this defense is really, really bad without Micah Parsons. They're not playing. They lost a leader in Micah Parsons too on defense.
But how did Micah Parsons wreck the season? It was
because you know he held out all year, caused a lot of. They were expecting Micah Parsons to be on the team, right? He was a key piece of what they were looking for from the players' perspective, right? Jerry Jones could say what he wants to say, but the players, I mean, those are his homeboys, right? And he turned down $40.5 million, right, to stay in Dallas, from what we understand. So the players expected him to be there. Dak was surprised that he left for Green Bay and the way things kind of crumbled down. But Micah basically said that I'm not gonna take your money, Jerry. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hold out, and I want to trade. $40.5 million is not going to be enough. And I'm going to go over here and get me $47 million a year from the Green Bay Packers. And now I'm going to come into your house and I'm going to wreak havoc on your quarterback, Dak Prescott. I know all your offensive plays. I know everything you guys are going to do. It don't matter what. I know the formations. He's going to be calling out formations. His teammates are going to be calling out formations. And they are going to be in the backfield wrecking Dak Prescott this week.
Like Prime used to say at Colorado, we coming. We coming. He coming. He coming to wreck shop.
Ooh, man, he knows all the plays, brother. He knows every play that's gonna happen there. So I just don't know.
Who you got?
I got Green Bay. I got Green Bay, and this thing shouldn't be close if Jordan Love don't mess it up. If he doesn't mess it up, they should win this game pretty easily, looking at what the Chicago Bears did to them last week.
31-14, 31-17, because they don't have
it might be worse.
Lamb. They don't have CeeDee Lamb. He's out with a high ankle sprain. So
and it's going to be
bad.
It
would look very bad without him. So
it's going to be bad. So when we take a break, we're going to take our last break of the night, and when we come back, we'll talk about the Ravens going to Kansas City and this is going to be a really good matchup too. And both teams are 1-2, and I didn't think that these words would come out of my mouth, but we'll be back and we'll talk about that game next. We are back live, and we're talking about NFL week number 4. I'm Lonnie Washington, and along with Tony Robertson, he's in Texas, I'm in Arizona, and we're previewing week 4 games. And so we talked about a key matchup in week 4. You know, despite the slow start from the Kansas City Chiefs, this game features Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson at Arrowhead, and the Ravens coming off a short week and getting their teeth kicked in by the Detroit Lions. I mean, it was a second half, but Detroit just dominated in the running game. And when you start looking at the defense of the Baltimore Ravens, they're just not the same defense at all. And on offense, you have Derrick Henry fumbling the last, basically 3 fumbles and 10 rushes in the fourth quarter this season. And yesterday was a really bad fumble because that kind of prepared the Detroit Lions to bring on the 14-point win yesterday. And so this game here, you got 2 playoff teams where the Kansas City Chiefs don't have all of their weapons, and they have a sputtering offense over there with the Ravens. Man, I mean, not the sputtering offense, but a kind of a sputtering defense. So does Patrick Mahomes exploit the Baltimore Ravens defense this week, even though he's shorthanded? What do you think this game is going to look like, Tony?
Oh man, it's hard because without Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy, they have nobody to take the top off besides Hollywood Brown, and he's not really getting that separation like those other guys can. And you got Kelsey arguing with the coach and stuff like that. Or it's probably just a show because this is what they usually do, just to show that they're not happy, right? So.
Yes.
But I feel like the running game has to step up for the Kansas City Chiefs in order for them to win this game. Because if they don't have a running game, they can't run, they can't pass really. I mean, because it's been, like you said, they've been sputtering. Their offense, Kansas City Chiefs offense has been sputtering, and but what better team to play against? Because the Ravens defense hasn't really been doing anything to stop many teams besides the Browns. Besides my Browns only giving up 17 points to the Browns. I mean, well, we know what that is, though. But yeah, but I feel like the Ravens, man, Henry has to get off. Henry's in his head now. You can see like in his body language, and like what we were seeing last night. He's in his head, and he every time he fumbles, he's like more in his head. He has he's leading the league in the most fumbles in the season already. I feel like this is a game he can step back up. He can get back into the swing of things, but the Chiefs play really good defense in Arrowhead, and with that crowd, that loud crowd, and I feel like the Chiefs may get a chance to take this game, only because of the defense and how they play at home, and the crowd is going to be in their ear. Not once you get to Arrowhead, you know what I'm saying. Like when they play there, it's kind of tough, but we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, that game there is definitely one to watch, and I'm going to be having my eyes on that game also. So we have to talk about the Chargers at the Giants, right? Because there was a big development today where they're going to bench Russell Wilson, and I mean, the Chargers coming across the country. They have a 1 o'clock start, and they have to play the Giants in the Meadowlands, and then you have Jackson Dart that everybody's been chanting for. They wanted Jackson Dart, right? Now they got Jackson Dart, but I'm not sure that this was the game that they wanted to see him play because the Chargers and they one of the hottest teams in the division, and I think they're probably top 5 in the ranking, the power rankings this week. And they have they just beat the Denver Broncos yesterday, who supposedly be the top defense, right? But boy, you got the Chargers going into the Meadowlands, and we talk again. You know something about having rookie quarterbacks, right? Because your Browns is, got the rookie quarterback. What do you think went into the decision of Daboll benching Russell Westbrook and putting Jackson Dart in after 3 games?
We all saw it as the inconsistent quarterback play, just like we have in Cleveland. It's just the inconsistent. I like Russell Wilson. He's like one of my favorite quarterbacks. We talked about that before. But I feel like Dayball's his coaching position he's on a hot seat right now, so he has to do something something that's going to cater to the fans and stuff like that. He has to put Jackson Dart in, and I feel like this game might be a little tricky because the Giants defense is playing really good. They need a quarterback to come in to like change the game, and I feel like I feel like the Chargers don't have enough game tape on Jackson Dart, so I feel like he's going to have a good game. I feel like because he can run the ball, and that's one thing that they haven't seen from a Giants offense in a while since Daniel Jones. But they're two separate players. But I feel like Dart can actually do some things as long as he can get the ball to his playmakers. And get out of the pocket where he needs to get out of the pocket. I feel like he can have a solid game because that defense is going to keep them in because they're getting better. The defense is getting better. So
yeah, I don't see the rookie beating the Chargers. I think you have to be careful too because you can get him beat up in this game. The Chargers are going to blitz him, show him things. Yeah. He was everybody is a preseason darling until they get into a real game where a team has game plan for you and then show you all these different coverages that you haven't seen. And the worst thing that I think that what if he comes in and throws 2, 3, 4 interceptions and it's a bad loss? Do you hurt his psyche? Are you going to keep him in the game? Are you going to get Jameis Winston in the game? And so I think that this is a very dangerous step right now that they're taking with him. But he's been the second, listed as a second string quarterback. So he was always one hit away from being the next guy up, right? So we're going to really see. Everybody's been chanting Jackson Dart. You got Jackson Dart, the Giants, you do. You definitely do this year. This right now, right? He's going to play early. So we'll see. And so we're gonna go to the Cleveland Browns. Are y'all going to Detroit this week? Are the Cleveland Browns playing the Detroit Lions this week in the Dome? Coming off the big win, coming off the big bad win. Yeah. So Tony, you got the Detroit Lions who just beat the brakes off of the Ravens. So do I give you guys a chance to win? Do I got to put my foot in my mouth again this week? Yeah, buddy. I don't think you guys going into Detroit to beat the Lions. So I will say that again. I'm going against you guys again this week. So I know you got to pick your team, buddy. But Detroit.
So I'm going to say this. You got a stationary quarterback. He better get that ball out quick. Because if he don't, he's gonna be on the ground like 7 times in this game. Because if he tries to sit in that pocket and think he's good, no, our defense is coming at him, and he's not going to be able to do that little standing there and just doing whatever you want to do. It's not going to happen against the Browns. So because you got that boy Garrett, y'all gonna send Tua Garrett too many times. Going to free up everybody else to come in on him, and it's over. I got the Browns winning. Another close game. It's going to be a defensive struggle. As long as we got Flacco, it's going to be a low scoring game because until we can figure out a way to score points
But
with
Detroit got a
Flacco,
good defense too. Detroit
hey,
stifled Lamar Jackson
they're
yesterday.
not stopping Quinshawn Junkins. They ain't stopping that kid.
Oh, okay. All right.
Quinshawn Junkins going to
Yeah,
get 2 touchdowns in this game.
Oh, well, for all your fantasy people there, you heard it from Tony. Tony is also a fantasy guy, so he's putting that out there. He's saying Junkins is going to get 2 touchdowns. So, see what that's going to do with your fantasy. So we'll see. So we also got the Washington Commanders traveling to Atlanta, and we don't know if the Dayton Daniels is going to be back. But again, like I said earlier in this, in this broadcast, that I think the Commanders going back, and then you got Quinn going back to Atlanta, so he wants to beat his old team. All right, he prevented the Atlanta Falcons from getting to the playoffs the last game of the season last year, where you guys came to Northwest Stadium, and the heroics of Jaden Daniels beat you guys in overtime. So now coming off a bad loss, going to Atlanta, the Commanders have to watch out in this game. And again, they have to jump on them early, look at the game film from last week, what the Panthers did to Atlanta Falcons. And if they jump, clearly the Commanders is a better team. If they jump on them early and go in there in Atlanta, I think they have a big chance to really beat them up. But you can't let the Falcons stay in this game, and you gotta sack Michael Penix and force him into some turnovers. And I think the Commanders should win this game. We're 2-1. Whether Daniels plays again this week, I don't really care, because Marcus Mariota, I think, is the right guy for the job to go in there and beat Atlanta. So I think you save Jaden Daniels this week if you can. Go in Atlanta, get the win, and then you travel to San Diego to play the Chargers. And it'll be Jaden Daniels' first game back, hopefully. And then, hopefully he's ready to play and in shape, because they're going to need him to beat the Chargers. So what do you think about the Atlanta Falcons game? Do you think the Commanders have a chance to win this game?
Did you watch that show on Netflix, The Quarterback?
Yep.
When Mariota was on that team?
Yes, sir.
The Atlanta Falcons team, how they treated him, like when they thought he was like sitting out because he wanted for the injury he had or whatever, something like that. So this is a payback game. This is another payback game to Mariota. He's on a payback.
2 weeks in a row he got payback train.
So this team is more of a payback than the Raiders. He didn't have any bad. I don't think he had any bad stuff going on with the Raiders. But
no, I think he still lives there.
On that show, on that quarterback show, they were like down, like talking bad about him and stuff like that. Like he just quit on him or something like that. Yeah, he's about to bring it. I feel like he's gonna. Yeah. He's rushing for 2 touchdowns, throwing for 3.
Whoa!
It's gonna be a big game. He's coming back to do some damage on the Falcons, I'm sure.
Yeah, that Deebo Samuel, he's a dude. He was all over the field last week. Deebo Samuel, but one thing to watch too is Terry McLaurin. He's got a quad injury that could be huge for them if he doesn't play. But some of the young guys got to just step up in that game. So. Yeah. Our last game we're going to talk about, we got to talk about the Colts. The Colts are 3-0 and they're riding high, but this week they go and play a ticked off Rams team, and
so far
they got a ticked off Rams team, and they play them in LA after the Rams gave up that loss, that 26 unanswered points against the Eagles, and lost that game last week. And you got the Colts coming in riding high. Do you think this week is the Colts will get their first loss because you got a Rams team that is going to be pissed off and mad?
Well, yeah, we were talking about this earlier too. They played against some
division, but they beat the Denver Broncos. But the Broncos might not be that team that we thought they were.
Yeah, they might not be, but I don't know. I'm kind of holding my reservations because they played a Titans team that's, they got a rookie quarterback. They're not really that great, but once they're playing the NFC West. So this is one of those tough divisions that they have to play this year, and this is their first test. are they going to show what they did in these previous games? I know Taylor is going to play well. The running back, he plays. He's the heart of that team. The running back Taylor.
Yep.
But we want to see how
Jonathan
Daniel
Taylor. Yep.
Jones. We want to see how Daniel Jones play in this game. See if he's the new if he's Indiana Jones or is he
Yep.
New York Giants Jones. We want to see.
Is he Danny Dimes or is he Indiana Jones? Is he Danny Dimes or Indiana Jones?
Because Indiana Jones looking good right now. We're gonna see if he's gonna revert back to his old ways. Playing against this NFC West team that's ready to go after them after losing that last game. So
yeah.
I don't think they got a chance against the Rams. The Rams offense is just too powerful to me. And they're on the road. I mean, they're still in the dome. So I mean, they may play well on the road in the dome. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be I think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Rams are going to get after the coach and give them their first loss. If not, we'll be back here next week eating crow, because now if they beat the Rams, then they actually become a legitimate potential playoff team, right? Yeah. If they can go in there and beat the Rams in LA. So we're going to wrap up this show tonight and, have a happy week 4. You've got the Thursday night game where you have the Seattle Seahawks 2-1 traveling to Arizona, right here down the road from me at State Farm Stadium. That should be a good, interesting game, on a Thursday night. And so I'm interested to see who wins that game. But we're done here for tonight. This has been Lonnie Washington and Tony Robinson. Good night, everybody.